All right, I'm here with Brad Kuhnert. He is the inventor of the Assassin platform and harness system, which was a thing back in the day and it kind of lost some steam, but now it's coming back in full force. So why don't you give a little bit of background about yourself as a saddle hunter and the history of the Assassin, or I guess what it's going to be called now, the Ambush, correct?
This is going to be called the Kuhnert's Ambush.
Awesome. So yeah, give me a little bit of background about how long you've been doing this type of hunting.
I started dabbling in it in probably the mid '80s, and at that time, pretty much started with using like an Anderson tree sling, and it was I saw big advantages is having that just as another tool to have in your toolbox to use as hunting. So at that time, I was standing on tree pegs or sticks like everybody else, limbs. And I thought to myself, I need a platform where I can put my feet. So probably late 80s, early 90s, I started welding a real small version of a platform out of steel and using them, which worked great, but they were really heavy right? Being made out of steel. So as time went on, about that time, Andre and I met, and that casting situation, we talked about it, how I can, make a bigger platform and, cut the weight.
Right.
So that time there wasn't a lot of interest in saddle hunting, and it wasn't gaining any traction. Well, about 2006 or 7, we come out with the Assassin, and Lone Wolf had it. There wasn't a lot of saddle hunters out there at the time, and it just didn't gain a lot of traction. And it stopped. So saddle hunting is obviously becoming a big thing right now.
Yep.
So I knew I needed to get the platform back out. So I redesigned from the original Assassin this platform. I wanted to cut a little weight off of it. So I cut, there's about a little over a pound difference from this prototype here to what the original Assassin was. And different tooth design. The teeth that were on the original one, on the Assassin, at times on small trees, there's a little bit of wobble. With this design, I don't have that.
They bite in a lot better.
Yeah, they bite in a lot better. For if a guy was, these here, where if a guy does want a second strap, just to tighten that.
Oh yeah, those little pins right there.
So right there, you just strap that on, cinch that, so now you're strapped there and right over top, or over top of the platform.
And I noticed too that the post is different as well.
Yeah, no, it went with just a different post. It's a little lighter.
Is it this? It looks like the same kind of machined solid block of aluminum that the other Lone Wolf custom stands are made out of?
Pretty much, yeah. Right here with these grommets, they just nest in.
So this gentleman here is working, and he was one of the guys that way back in the 80s when he had that mini Assassin platform.
Just attach it so you can stack the next one, nest right in there, and 4 of them are pretty much about even with.
Yeah, because those sticks are 3/4 inch wide, so you got 3 inches total stack with 4 sticks. What's the dimensions of that platform?
It's 18 by 14 at the longest. It's about 18 right here, about 13 and a half.
Gotcha.
So
I noticed some tread around the outside of the platform that wasn't there originally.
Yeah, that also helps, just a little extra grip there. This design, this is kind of still in the prototype state. We're going to change this maybe just a little bit. This step.
Yep.
That step just allows you to be able to step on that and turn when you need to.
Right.
So
I found that it's nice also for just kind of relieving pressure on long sits.
Right.
You put one leg up there and just kind of relax.
When you're sitting, you can change, put your one foot up, one down, and just kind of change it. For me personally, what I found, this size worked about the best. Like I said, I've had smaller platforms I hunted out of for years, but this one on an all-day sit, it just allowed you to move your feet just a little bit more to relieve that pressure.
Right.
And I developed a harness that I use. It's a little different now than most of what the saddles are out there.
Right.
So I didn't need with this stand, I didn't need to be able to sit. With the harness that I use, I was able just to stand comfortably
and just kind of lean
use
against
the
it.
system that I put together.
Now, when you attach that, when you actually use it, are you putting your foot on that and lifting up the platform with the other foot to tighten it
I'm
even
usually
further?
underneath on a stick underneath.
Yeah.
And I just put it around, and then it's usually for my hand. I'll just reach up,
Yep.
or I'll grab it just up like that. I'll grab it from the bottom and pull it down.
Pull it down.
And then for the leveling, here's about level. By turning this out, it's going to change how far that platform will go down.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot of room to be able to adjust to the different trees. This is going to change to give me a lot more leveling.
Gotcha.
So we'll see how it looks.
How it looks now, but it could change.
Yeah, it's going to change for sure.
All right. So with this new harness that you have, I know it's not a finalized prototype. You're kicking around some ideas right now.
Yeah.
What is your embodiment, or for you personally, what is your favorite way to use a harness? Do you need leg loops? Do you need shoulder straps? What do you like to use personally?
Yeah, everybody's different. I pretty much for my own version have just used this slimmed down version.
Yep.
I know in the prototype, trying to get feedback from different people what they'd want. So we're probably going to have the leg straps that you'd be able to use, and maybe some design where you could have like a
lineman's belt,
like a
positioning
lineman's belt
lanyard
type thing that
Yep.
you could add onto it. So we're kind of open for suggestions for people. You know, as we're at the show here, people are telling me their thoughts, and anybody else, hit our website and let us know their thoughts and what they might like to see in a harness, and we'll see if we can make that happen for them. For me personally, this system here is what I've hunted out of for years. Like I said before, when I was starting out using the different harnesses, slings back then, saddles,
Yep.
whatever you want to call them. But the issue that I always had was basically the bridge, where it was kind of in my way, it seemed like a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I develop something that I don't have to move around? And when it came to, later on, when it came to self-filming, it seemed like that was, even more of an issue.
Right.
So I thought to myself, well, how can I do that? Well, many years ago, I did climbing poles and that, and was using a lineman's belt. So I was used to that. So I kind of started with that and went out in the woods and basically just used a lineman's belt. And the issue that I had with that was when it was just a strap around the tree in a regular lineman's belt, was as you move, you would get noise on the tree.
Exactly.
So I thought, how can I eliminate that noise? I mean, I loved kind of the setup of that, being lower and everything out of my way, but how could I eliminate that problem? So I come up with the idea and got it patented of using a ring.
A ring?
So
Yep.
basically, you strap yourself in, and I'm about, right there is where I do it, about waist high, because I'm in the platform. So all your movement now is just silent, and it's in that ring.
Right. So it's very much intended to be used in mostly a standing position, a little bit of lean against the tree.
Yep.
And then when you want to take a weak side shot, you're basically just lifting your bow up over the top of that bridge and twisting your feet.
Yep. I mean, it's not as much as, where the bridge, the bridge now is much lower.
Right. And probably too, if you're self-filming, you're mounting your camera arm up above that as well.
My camera arm's right about here.
Gotcha.
And so all my movement is right around there. Just nothing in the way. And it allows, like with my stand, with that step, it just allows you to be able to turn. Like I said, all your movement is in that ring.
Yep.
And here's your adjustment.
So you can't
So if you
leaning
want to get
trees.
the way this, like here, this tree would be too close, I would just lengthen this and move back. If you want to get closer, just pull it closer. So there's adjustment in this ring of what, the personal preference again of how you want to be. So, and sometimes when I'm in there, if you want to sit, I just kind of lower this and just, almost sat in that.
Use it kind of like a sling or like a swing set.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, I mean, with me hunting out of a platform, since the 80s or 90s, some type of platform, I eliminated that issue of having to be in some type of saddle or seat position.
You got used to
right. And I thought I would need a bigger pad to make this more comfortable. And when I was having one sewing back then, it just ended up that this is about perfect, for what I needed. I mean, when you're back in there and resting, it's almost unbelievable how comfortable it really is. I mean, some people were like, how can you be out there and stand that long? Then later on, they used the system, and it was like, now I can see it's way more comfortable than what you think. You don't. So it eliminated me having to sit more, which in turn, by doing that, I just was more in a ready position all the time if something come in that, I wasn't moving up or, taking that shot. I was always more standing. And like I say, with me hunting out of my homemade platforms at the time, the issue everybody else was having, why they wanted that, saddle type thing or seat, I didn't need it. So for me, this system's worked great for me. Everybody's different.
Right.
But for me, this system's worked. A couple weeks ago was in northern Wisconsin, and I stood morning to dark, in our prototype platform, with this harness. So, and a lot of times too, I try finding a situation where I have a tree
to lean against.
Right. And this would almost be the perfect setup here, where I'd have the stand, the stand would fit right in here.
Yep, so right in between two.
I put my stand there, and now this limb sawed off, but this limb would be coming out. I mean, you would be even with this tree, blending right in, and at the same time, I could lean all day up against this. I mean, just basically when you want to take weight off.
And your silhouette almost makes you look more like a branch as well.
Yeah. Like I told people years ago, I mean, if you like everything a deer sees is the branches are up and out.
Yep.
And when you're in that position, up and out like that, you look more like a limb or a branch to them. I mean, it's just, it's something that they see their whole life is that angle. And it's, for whatever reason, you can get away being a lot lower. And, I just learned over the years that being at that angle, the deer just don't spot you as much.
Yeah.
You look more natural to them.
My biggest public land buck came with that platform, that old Assassin, 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah, no, I've shot deer at, different heights, and I mean, I've been, 6 feet, and a lot of times, the cover like this is a little, but there's times where, I used one stick and got up because the cover was all down low.
Right.
Especially later as the season goes on, you're losing all your foliage, so getting higher at times causes you more issues.
Right.
So at that point, you need to, for me, I just came down lower and got, find that spot where, you'd be lower, but utilize, the different, branches or limbs or whatever position they were in.
You just kind of play the situation and look for the right way to set up.
Yep, no, exactly. And, sometimes you don't have that, but you're still being low, and if you're behind a tree and utilize it right, the tree's blocking you a lot also, because hopefully the deer out in front of you and the wind's this way, that they're not downwind of you.
Yeah.
But, even then, just being able to lean out sometimes or find another tree next to you, you just blend in, more naturally to it.
Right.
So
with that strap that goes around the tree, is that buckle something that's going to end up on the final thing, or is that something that might change?
No, we're looking at changing that.
Changing that?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. No, we're probably going to have a loop and then just some type of hook.
Some type of G-hook or something?
G-hook that goes in there.
And then you can just cinch it tight?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're coming up with a lot of different ideas, but like I say, just listen to the people that are out there hunting of what they want to see, but that's definitely something we're going to change.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, this, like I say, we're in the prototype state. Yeah, we pretty much know what we want to do, but with this obviously here and everything else, but some of the the buckles and that we're using would be eliminated and use different type of things, for the leg straps too.
Yeah.
So,
Is this something that you think will be available by the 2019 deer hunting season?
for sure.
Gotcha.
Yep. We're hoping everything by, late spring,
Perfect.
springtime this year, 2019.
Awesome. And then do you know what the price point roughly will be, or if the options are going to be to buy the harness and the stand separately, or if you can have to buy them as a kit?
We're looking at the price point on this, $279, and we're looking at selling it separate, and then also a package with a harness.
Gotcha. So the $279 would be for the platform itself?
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we're still working on that harness pricing once we
Once you
figure out
finalize
exactly
it.
what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and all that will be hopefully finalized, everything done by spring of 19 here now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you've definitely had a huge impact on my personal system. I've killed a lot of deer out of that original Assassin, so it's nice for me to be able to see that it's making a comeback.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And your passion for what you do really shows through as well.
Yeah, okay, well, thanks.